You mentioned three critical words in my opinion: reading, writing, arithmetic. I mean, it used to be when you talked about school, that's what you thought of: reading, writing, arithmetic, because those are like the basics. And if you got those, you got the foundation of education, and you could really go anywhere in life. Seems like, and I know you said not just, that was your statement, I believe. So in other words, the importance of that, but then there are so many other things that we can add to that. But let's zero in on that a little bit, because it seems like, in testing and just seeing what's actually the outcomes so many times of schools, we're not seeing real high success sometimes. And I don't want to go in a negative trend here, but I think we have to be honest. Let's talk about that. And what do you see in those areas? How important are they, first of all? And, what are some things that maybe, are there reasons why we're struggling in some areas in those
Right.
points?
Right. So I think there's a couple of challenges, I think, in education. And again, you're right. We certainly don't want to focus on the negative, but we have to be realistic in our evaluation of the current educational system. And I think there's a few different areas that have become a challenge, and I think that's why we have issues. The first, I think, is policy, workplace policy, and I think in the schools we have, for the most part, I have seen serving on a school board as an educator and from an outsider with children in school being involved. I have seen policy that has, for the most part, been unable to keep up with the societal issues and cultural changes. One of those big things, of course, something I'm very passionate about, is bullying. We're just not seeing that. And I don't know why that this has happened. I mean, just like the weather, we can sort of see change coming from the West, across our country, California area, whether it's fashion or entertainment and education. And I think a lot of school board members in the Midwest and the East Coast, for some reason, are shocked when all of a sudden they have a student say, "I'm not comfortable using that bathroom." And it's like, "Oh no, what do we do?" We saw that coming years ago, and I think we just don't have policy that's reflecting our current state. And that's causing internal problems and dilemmas, because if we're not prepared with policy, then when that issue happens, we're distracted from our main goal of educating children. So I think that's an issue. I think the curriculum is an issue, a bigger issue in the past 10 years than it ever has in America's history. From my personal interpretation and perception of this, I think we have social agendas that are being filtered down by politicians with an agenda, as if classroom is this lab that we can experiment socially and have a cultural issue. Again, reading, writing, and arithmetic, I think we just need to get back to focusing on the main thing, keep the main thing the main thing. When I was in the military, it was a KISS acronym, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. And I think we have so complicated the fire out of our educational system through curriculum that's one of the reasons that our students are struggling, and our educators are as well. I think student behavior is an issue, but I think student behavior is a reflection of policies that subtly support the issue of enablement affecting our society, with the power of discipline and authority educators used to have slowly being chiseled away. And I think that's an issue. And again, whether it's bullying or any other distraction that you might have, I think this is an issue. I think parental engagement is an issue. We don't have the parental engagement that we used to have. I don't think this is an issue that we can just say, "Oh, parents just don't care anymore." I really don't. I think this is an issue that has changed in our country, that started in the 60s and early 70s in America's educational system. It used to be moms were stay at home. They were focused on the children. And again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. My wife is more educated than I am, and she has a fantastic job as an administrator in a large high school and public school. What I'm saying is that's just fact. The reality was, in the 50s house is completely a different dynamic than it is today. The moms were staying at home. They were involved in parent-teacher association and organizations. They had a great relationship with the teachers. It was a team relationship. And I think one of the problems today is there's this huge disconnect inherently with the change in our country, where moms were working with the dads just to be able to try to make ends meet. We have a higher divorce rate now than we used to. We have a lot more single moms raising children that just literally don't have time to be as involved or invested in the educational life of their child. You have a lot of grandparents now raising children, and they don't have the health nor the time. So it's just the animal that it is. And what has happened is, because there has not been this synergy and this connect between the household and the teachers, the educators are perceiving this wrongly as they're just not interested, don't want to be involved. The parents aren't seeing this bridge to try to, make up and accommodate for this shift, cultural change and shift. And so now all of a sudden you have this, unfortunately, this perceived adversarial relationship, teachers and parents against each other, not working together. A couple of years ago, I called a community meeting in our sanctuary to address the issue of bullying, to address policy and what the schools could do better. And we had school board members come out, we had legislators come out, a senator came out. And what I found, and I was just so disheartened, it's not what I thought it was going to be. We had over 300 families in attendance. And it was it was a picture of that adversarial relationship. It's us against you. And it just absolutely broke my heart, because I don't think there's many teachers that go into the profession, I'm just doing this to get rich or to be popular. They're doing this to help students. And I don't know many parents that are just dropping their kids off and really don't care what their kids do or how their kids achieve. We're all in this together, but there has been that disconnect. I think that is one of the greatest problems facing our educational system.